Hello, welcome to the weekly highlights program on Azərbaycan Television with the major developments of the week. I am your host, Ilham Məmmədov. Now, first, let's take a brief look at some of the top stories of this week. President İlham Əliyev received a delegation led by Hulusi Akar, the Deputy of the Grand National Assembly of Turkey, Chairman of the Committee on National Defense of the Parliament and former Minister of National Defense of the Republic of Turkey. President of the Republic of Azerbaijan İlham Əliyev received Secretary General of the Interparliamentary Union Martin Çunkong. President İlham Əliyev received a delegation led by Hulusi Akar, the Deputy of the Grand National Assembly of Turkey, Chairman of the Committee of National Defense of the Parliament and former Minister of National Defense of the Republic of Turkey.
Hulusi Akar conveyed President of Turkey Recep Tayyip Erdogan's greetings to the head of state. President İlham Əliyev thanked for the greetings and asked Hulusi Akar to communicate his greetings to the President of Turkey. Hulusi Akar noted that the friendly and brotherly relations between Azerbaijan and Turkey are developing under the principle of one nation, two states, as stated by great leader Heydar Aliyev. Describing it as an exemplary model, he highlighted the pivotal role played by the friendly and fraternal relations between President of Azerbaijan İlham Əliyev and President of Turkey Recep Tayyip Erdogan in reaching a level of strategic alliance between the two countries. Hulusi Akar once again commended President Commander-in-Chief İlham Əliyev for his exceptional role in Azerbaijan's victory in the Patriotic War. President İlham Əliyev once again praised the moral, political and diplomatic support provided by Recep Tayyip Erdogan and brotherly Turkey to Azerbaijan from the initial days of the 44-day Patriotic War. The sides emphasized the eradication of illegal armed groups and aggressive separatism in Azerbaijan's territory during the anti-terrorism measures implemented by Azerbaijan in less than 23 hours on September 19th, 20th of last year, which led to the full restoration of the country's sovereignty. The head of state said that even after the 44-day Patriotic War, new reforms were implemented in the armed forces of Azerbaijan, strengthening the combat capability of the country's army, as evidenced by the anti-terrorism measures conducted last September. During the conversation, the sides hailed the development of cooperation within the Organization of Turkic States, covering new areas, and stressed the importance of establishing relations through parliamentary channels of this organization at the level of relevant committees, as well as holding joint meetings of these committees. The parties also underscored the significance of the Shusha Declaration, exchanged views on cooperation between Azerbaijan and Turkey in military, defense, industry, security, interparliamentary ties and other domains, emphasizing the importance of joint military exercises conducted by the armed forces of both countries. Hulusi Akar then presented a keepsake to the head of state.
President of the Republic of Azerbaijan İlham Əliyev received Secretary General of the Interparliamentary Union Martin Çunkong.
Secretary General of the Interparliamentary Union Martin Çunkong congratulated the head of state on ensuring the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Azerbaijan. President İlham Əliyev expresses gratitude for the congratulations, describing it as a historic moment for the Azerbaijani people and state, and emphasized that these new conditions create opportunities for strengthening peace and stability in the region. The head of state said that despite the Minsk group had been engaged in the process of resolving the conflict for 28 years, no results were achieved. Azerbaijani territories were not liberated from the occupation, and the return of internally displaced persons was not ensured. While the Azerbaijani side rightfully put forward proposals to put pressure on Armenia and impose appropriate sanctions against it when Azerbaijani territories were under occupation, the member states of the Minsk group did not take any steps in this direction at that time. President İlham Əliyev pointed out that after the end of the 44-day Patriotic War in 2020, Azerbaijan, as the initiator of the peace agenda in the region, proposed to sign a peace treaty with Armenia. However, Armenia did not provide an adequate response to this proposal. Therefore, Azerbaijan put forward 5 principles in accordance with the norms and principles of international law, which formed the basis of the peace agreement, making Azerbaijan the initiator of the negotiation process on the peace treaty. The other state stated that after the end of the 44-day Patriotic War in 2020, Armenia did not fulfill the number of obligations it undertook under the trilateral statement, and over the past 3 years, Armenia continued to support separatism in the Karabakh region of Azerbaijan through financial, military, and other means. The president of Azerbaijan said that the congratulatory message sent by the Armenian leadership on the occasion of the independence of the so-called Republic of Nagorno-Karabakh on September 2nd last year, as well as the so-called presidential elections held on September 9th, seriously undermined the peace process, emphasizing that Azerbaijan undertook anti-terrorism measures to ensure its territorial integrity and sovereignty. The head of state underlined that there is already de facto peace between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and a state of peace has prevailed along the border of the two countries for several months. However, in order to bring logical conclusion to this process, a peace treaty must be signed and Armenia's territorial claims against Azerbaijan must be brought to an end. In this regard, President Ilham Aliyev noted that in Armenia's declaration of independence, there are direct calls for the annexation of Azerbaijan's Karabakh region to Armenia and the violation of Azerbaijan's territorial integrity, and this document is also referred to in the Constitution of Armenia. Furthermore, in Armenia's other regulatory and legal documents, there are numerous provisions that assert territorial claims against Azerbaijan, and in many conventions and other documents to which Armenia is a party, there are numerous clauses that do not recognize Azerbaijan's sovereignty over Karabakh. In addition, the head of state emphasized that the basis of Armenia's claims against Azerbaijan in international courts consist of issues such as the non-recognition of Azerbaijan's sovereignty and territorial integrity by Armenia, as well as the separation of Karabakh from Azerbaijan. The president of Azerbaijan noted that peace can be achieved when these claims are brought to an end and when amendments are made in the Constitution of Armenia and other regulatory and legal documents. Stressing the importance of expeditiously implementing this in Armenia, the head of state emphasized that initiating internal discussions on this issue in Armenia is considered a positive step, adding that this could create good opportunities for expediting the conclusion of the peace process. Martin Chunkong proposed that the Interparliamentary Union could be a platform for dialogue between the parliamentarians of Armenia and Azerbaijan. The head of state applauded this initiative, pointing out that Azerbaijan supports the conduct of dialogue between the parliaments of the two countries, namely on this platform. Saying that France is carrying out a destructive policy in the region, acting on the principle of adding fuel to the fire, conducting Armenia's militarization policy, and instigating geopolitical intrigues, President Ilham Aliyev noted that official Paris is the cause for the tension in the region. The president also noted that France conducts anti-Azerbaijan policy in various international organizations and at the parliamentary levels. The head of state underscored that France pursues a policy to achieve a leading position and strengthen its influence in the South Caucasus region, but he added that the efforts in this direction have been futile. President Ilham Aliyev stressed that the efforts of a minority group in the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, which is anti-Azerbaijani in nature and opposes the ratification of the credentials of the Azerbaijani delegation, did not contribute to dialogue. He stated that this contradicts the traditions of parliamentary platforms in general. The head of state emphasized the importance of restoring the rights of the Azerbaijani delegation and pointed out that if the rights of the Azerbaijani delegation are not restored, Azerbaijan will reconsider its participation in the Council of Europe and the European Court of Human Rights. Martin Chunkong pointed out that the Interparliamentary Union calls for dialogue and inclusivity among parliamentarians, noting that he does not advocate exclusivity and such approaches are not properly accepted and do not match international parliamentary traditions. He congratulated the head of state on hosting COP29 and proposed organizing an event within the Interparliamentary Union, bringing together parliamentary delegations and supporting international efforts in the areas of environment and climate change during COP29. The head of state supported this initiative and invited Martin Chunkong to COP29, which will be hosted in Azerbaijan. The invitation was gratefully accepted. The Secretary General of the Interparliamentary Union also congratulated Azerbaijan on its successful chairmanship of the non-aligned movement and commended the country for its initiative to create a parliamentary dimension of the movement. President Ilham Aliyev highlighted Azerbaijan's initiatives during its 4-year chairmanship of the non-aligned movement, including increasing the organization's international influence, establishing new areas of cooperation, and creating parliamentary and youth dimensions, as well as the women's platform in this regard. The sides also exchanged views on other issues of mutual concern.
The head of state received Executive Secretary of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, Simon Steele.
Saying that he was impressed by the beauty of Baku, Simon Steele conveyed his congratulations to the head of state on the occasion of COP29 being held in Azerbaijan. President Ilham Aliyev expressed his gratitude for the congratulations. The guest noted that the fact-finding mission of the UN was already in Azerbaijan and that it held productive discussions with the Azerbaijani side. Simon Steele highly appreciated preparatory work done by Azerbaijan regarding the hosting of the 29th session of the Conference of the Parties to the Framework Convention on Climate Change, COP29, and emphasized that the staff of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change had very productive meetings and discussions with their counterparts in different fields in Azerbaijan. He positively assessed the participation of women in the work of organizing committee created in Azerbaijan for the COP29. The guests noted that they are ready to support Azerbaijan and share the experience at the UN family, taking into account the fact that the COP had already been organized 28 times and the rich experience of the staff of the organization. President İlham Aliyev emphasized that the decision to hold COP29 in Azerbaijan with the unanimous support of the international community was a manifestation of trust and respect to our country. The head of state said that the Azerbaijani side was ready to cooperate closely with this organization and the entire UN family for the successful implementation of this event. Emphasizing that Azerbaijan has a rich experience in organizing international events, the head of state noted that COP29 will be one of the events to be attended by the largest number of participants in the world. President İlham Aliyev stated that Azerbaijan is taking all the necessary steps in terms of the organization and the gist of the event, and in this regard, our country highly values close cooperation with international partners. President of Azerbaijan said that volunteers will be closely involved in the process of organizing the COP29. The head of state noted that the decision to hold the COP29 in Azerbaijan was reached in the context of advancing the regional peace agenda, and this was a new development in the history of COP in general. President İlham Aliyev informed about Azerbaijan's initiatives in the direction of transition to green energy at a national and regional level. He also expressed confidence that the holding of COP29 in Azerbaijan will stimulate the efforts of our country in transition to green energy and further development of cooperation with international partners in this field. The guest pointed out that Azerbaijan's chairmanship within the framework of the COP was dedicated to a very important topic, the topic of climate financing, and it was one of the most important issues on the COP's agenda. He also touched on the importance of multilateral diplomacy and inclusive work with all partners in this regard. The head of state noted that Azerbaijan had always attached great importance to the multilateral diplomacy and had always pursued a very active policy in international organizations and multilateral platforms. In this regard, President İlham Aliyev pointed out Azerbaijan's successful chairmanship of the non-aligned movement, which was highly appreciated by the member states of the movement, and emphasized the successful cooperation of our country with other international organizations. The importance of trilateral cooperation between the United Arab Emirates, which hosted COP28, Azerbaijan and Brazil, the countries will host COP29 and COP30 respectively, was emphasized at the meeting.
That was all for the week. Thank you for watching us and stay tuned not to miss the next edition of our program.